Firstly, I'd like to thank you for taking this opportunity to review your occupational safety and health policy at this aged care facility that you are the manager of here in Midland. It's very much appreciated, and I thank you for your time. The general information about your facility: it's a residential facility based in Midland providing care for the elderly. At present you have a total of 42 staff and a capacity of 48 patients. The youngest patient currently at the age of 63 years old. I understand that the company has requested that I do not use their name in my presentation, and as such I have deleted the name of the company through the presentation documents that are noted in the presentation. As you'll see, they have been deleted. So your current OSH policy is a 5-page document which does comply with current legal requirements, which is very good to see. Congratulations on that. It references employers, employees and visitors and responsibilities for them all to work safely within the facility. It also covers the need to have occupational safety and health representatives and committee meetings, and also the facilities for those representatives to take up their role and to organise and hold committee meetings as such. You also mentioned staff training. Again, that's a good thing to mention, and the reasoning behind that is to enable the staff to work safely. You have an OSH issue resolution procedure, which has the flow chart that you can see here, and that is there designed to tackle any issues that rise in respect of OSH and the resolution process, so that a successful outcome can be met in every stage. So moving on, just to give you a background, if you like, in the legal procedure or the legal structure, before we go into the detail of what requirements you have in place at the moment and the ones that you have met. I'll just run through the basic framework of how the legal procedures etc. work. So first up, you have an Act of Parliament, which is passed by Parliament and is entered into a statute book and is therefore called statutes, and is an act of law. This is a legally punishable act of law. Regulations. The regulations are also entered into the statute book and therefore legally punishable, exactly the same as the Act. Regulations tend to have more detail than the Act itself, which just outlines the policy. The regulations put a bit of more meat on the bones, if you like, of that policy, the Act of Parliament. Then you have a number of documents which sit underneath the Act of Parliament, 3 of which are mentioned here, which is Codes of Practice, Guidance Notes or Guidelines, and Australian Standards. Each of these are non-statute, so they're not legally punishable, but they are referenced to the Act of Parliament, and the information that is contained with them is usually issued by official bodies and to do with either the industry or a particular government body, i.e. WorkSafe. And the documents there give a lot more detail into certain aspects of the industry, or in your case obviously the aged care industry, and give you guidance on how you can comply with the spirit of the Act of Parliament, so that what you're doing day to day does comply with the legal requirements of the Act. And we'll go into those in a little bit more detail shortly. So just to sort of give that, put that in a little bit more of an easy picture to see. So the Act of Parliament sits at the top, as you can see here, with the regulations to one side, and as I mentioned, the regulations put some additional information onto the Act of Parliament. The Act of Parliament is the overriding document that controls and legally controls all the other aspects underneath it. So then, as mentioned, you have a number of different documents that are referenced back to the Act of Parliament and are issued to provide you with additional information to help you to comply with the Act of Parliament. And there's mentioned there Code of Practice, Guidance Notes, Australian Standards are 3 mentioned, and also Quality of Care Principles I've mentioned there, which comes under a particular Act of Parliament that is reference to your industry, which I'll cover in a little bit more detail shortly. But it just shows the makeup there, that you can have a number of different types of document that all sit on a level playing field, but all reference back to the Act of Parliament itself. So for your facility, the main two Acts of Parliament that are important for everyday work in your facility and from the position of occupational safety and health, and maintaining that safe working environment within your facility. On the left hand side you have the OSH specific, so you have the Occupational Safety and Health Act 1984, which, as you can see there, is a Western Australian document. It's only covered for West Australia. And then under the Act of Parliament are the regulations, 1996, which again is just a Western Australian document, applicable only to here. Then we have some specific codes of practice, the first of which is Code of Practice Manual Task 2010, which is also a WA document, and as it mentions in the title, obviously that covers manual tasks, of which there are a lot, with the manual handling of patients on a daily basis within your facility. There is also then a similar document, Code of Practice Hazardous Manual Handling, from Safe Work Australia from 2011. That's an Australian, a countrywide document, but covers the same topic or subject as the WA only one. And then finally on the left here we have Guidance Note, which is the General Duty of Care 2005, which is from the Commissioner of the Occupational Health and Safety in Western Australia. And this is the document that you've actually referenced in your OSH policy as it stands at present. On the right there, I've covered off on the aged care additions that, obviously being an aged care facility, that you have to abide with as far as Acts of Parliament is concerned, and at the top there is the Aged Care Act 1997, which is also a federal document. It's an Australian-wide document, not just relevant to WA, but relevant to everywhere within Australia. Underneath that are Quality of Care Principles, which is a new document this year, 2014, again Australia-wide. And that covers accreditation standards, and in particular accreditation standard 4.5 refers specifically to occupational health and safety, and that, as it refers back to the Aged Care Act 1997, is a document that you need to be aware of and you need to act on, so that you are complying with that Aged Care Act. So to break that down to a little bit more detail specifically for your facility, you have the first section there, section 19 of the Occupational Safety and Health Act 1984, WA, and that is the duty of an employer. So that's your duty to provide a safe working environment for your employees and visitors, and that environment is maintained, so that everybody is, as far as the risks and hazards concerned, is reduced as much as possible. The next one is section 20, which is the duty of the employees. So that's your employees must take reasonable care to ensure that his and her own safety at work is maintained, and also to ensure as much as possible that they do not adversely affect the safety of other people that work within the facility. Section 30 there is, as an employer, is your responsibility to comply with the election procedures for safety and health representatives, and that you've mentioned in your policy, as I've already mentioned. Section 35 is linked in with that, which is the requirement for you as an employer to allow the safety and health representative to conduct their business as far as reps is concerned, i.e. hold meetings and committee meetings, etc., and for you to afford them time to do that. Then under the OSH regulations 1996 at the bottom there, regulation 3.4 specifically deals with manual handling, again something that is prevalent within your business, and your duty as an employer to require you to identify manual handling hazards, assess the risks, and consider means by which we can control the risks, so that it is reduced as much as possible. From that we have Codes of Practice Manual Tasks 2010, which I've already mentioned. This is general guidance for employees and workers on identification, assessment and control of hazards and risk associated with manual tasks. The other code of practice I mentioned before is the federal document Hazardous Manual Tasks. This code provides practical guidance to persons conducting a business on how to manage risks of musculoskeletal disorders arising from manual handling tasks, and that obviously complies with you as well. Finally there, General Duty of Care 2005, the Commission for Occupational Safety and Health provides information and assistance to employers and employees on the general duty of care which you must provide within your workplace on a day-to-day basis. Now the Aged Care Act, which obviously you're very aware of, is a national document. In itself it does not mention occupational safety and health, but a document that does do that is the Quality of Care Principle 2004, which is made under section 96.1 of the Aged Care Act 97, and under part 4 of that, the accreditation standards 4.5 states that management is actively working to provide a safe working environment, so that it meets your regulatory requirements. So that there is your link to the Aged Care Act to provide a safe working environment within your business. So current compliance is very good with your policy. You have it covers all patients, staff and visitors, and their requirement to behave in a safe manner and for you to provide a safe working environment for them. You also cover the fact that you have to the requirements of Occupational Safety and Health Representatives Committee meetings, and your requirement to allow them to conduct that business, and at current you have 3 health and safety reps at your facility. You've met an employee assistance program to assist employees so that they may operate on a safe working basis on a daily basis, and also you reference the work safe guidance note on general duty of care that we've just covered. So finally, as a conclusion, opportunities for improvement that I can see with your policy as it stands at the moment. It's a good policy which does cover your legal requirements. However, I recommend that you look at integrating the following items within the policy, maybe just to improve it slightly. Make reference to the Quality of Care Principles 2014. I think is a good thing to do because it comes under your Aged Care Act, which is obviously a particular act of Parliament for your industry. And I think it would be good to mention that because it covers OSH requirements under that. Also include a section on manual handling as part of your policy. It's a crucial part of your business, and is used on a regular basis. And I think this section should include reference to the codes of practice, the WA version 2010, the information within. This document also contains a manual handling risk assessment tool, which I think would be of useful to your business just on a daily basis to remind you of requirements for manual handling tasks when it comes to moving patients around the facility. I hope that's been of use to you. I hope that it's helped you just maybe make 1 or 2 amendments to your policy, and I hope it's been of assistance to you anyway. Thank you very much for your time.